All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Hook, Line, and Shifter, brought to you by yours truly, Bob McCarty. Hopefully everybody had a great week of training. Down here in South Florida, we are deep into rainy season right now, so training gets a little bit more challenging, but we got to find our ways around it. Our ways around it is getting on those trainers. So I got a Wahoo kicker fully set up in my office, and I try to get on it two to three times a week depending upon the weather. It might even be more than that. So again, thanks for watching last week. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the new subscribers and the number of views, so it means a lot to me. I'm going to keep doing this. Well, last week we talked a little bit about marathon nationals and the national schedule, the national series. At one point, maybe 2 or 3 days ago, we actually got a communication from USA Cycling. In the last video, I had mentioned that nationals shifts coast from east to west. We just wrapped up what I thought was the East Coast run of XC and Marathon Nationals. They posted not the schedule, but the tentative date. So it looks like next year for 25 and 26, we're headed to Roanoke, Virginia. So going to the West Coast? Nope, not going to happen. And also they're having, what it appears that they're going to have both XC and Marathon Nationals in the same location. So give us a chance to actually race there twice in 1 year, so 4 times over the next 2 years. So looking forward to that event. Follow everything on USA Cycling. The schedule isn't out. It's going to take a couple months for them to get it out, but once they have it out, you'll know the exact dates and plans for 25 and 26. In about 3 weeks, we're actually headed up to Pennsylvania, Bear Creek Mountain Resort, for XC National. So kind of looking forward to that. I wound up getting one of my first national gold medals back in Bear Creek. I think it was 10 or 11 years ago. Won the XC Nationals there last year also, and back there again this year for XC Nationals. So hopefully I'll have a good turnout or a good performance while I'm there. Definitely no shortage of training right now. Feel pretty good. Gonna keep plugging away, and from there we're headed out to Leadville. I'll do some podcasts, or I'll do some podcasts on all of this also when we get a little bit closer to the event. So Roanoke for 25 and 26 next year, for XC Nationals and Marathon Nationals next year. All right, so one of the questions that comes up quite a bit for me is motivation. Like I said in the last video, I'm 52 years old, been racing for 30 years and mountain biking since 1984. Started racing BMX in 1979 out of New Jersey. How in the hell do you stay motivated when this sport is just relentless? Unfortunately, you have to push, you have to stay pedaling. There is virtually no downtime. Yes, you do have to listen to your body occasionally, but the mind as opposed to the body, there is a constant fight between the two. So the question is, how do you compete mind over body? So let me give a little bit of background into what motivates me, gives me the ability to wake up every day and go and ride my bike and put my body through the things that I do. Started, let's go backwards a little bit into my cycling. So my history, my father passed away when I was only 9 years old. Back then, my escape, I think, from reality or the situation was my bicycle. This is all that I've ever done. This is all that I've ever wanted to do when I was a kid, was just ride my bike. I found such joy and pleasure in riding with my friends, in challenging myself. So BMX, some road stuff. When I say road stuff, I think I had a Free Spirit road bike. Eventually got a Greg LeMond road bike. Flatland freestyle, had a bunch of GTs, race BMX, and then mountain bikes. Every single time I throw a leg over a bike, it reminds me of being 12 years old with my friends, out riding, trying to, in my opinion, escape the reality of what happened in my life. Father passed away of cancer. So, to this day, every time I get on my bike, I still have that escape of reality, being with my friends, and just thoroughly enjoying myself. What's changed in my life? 12 years ago, 13 years ago, I'm going to call it, had a real job. Actually, let me go back even further than that. I had a real job. Not that I don't have a real job now, but I had a real job back in the day. When I got to South Florida, I started working at Home Depot. Wound up climbing through the ranks and became a district manager. Loved what I did for a little while. And then 60, 70 hours a week working for somebody was really starting to take its toll on me. So one day, came home from work. It was actually a Saturday. Came home from work and I saw my wife, Amy. And I was sitting on the couch watching TV, and I had just happened to be actually watching the Tour de France. This was, I think, sometime in like the end of June or July. So I'm watching the Tour de France, and my wife's looking at me. She goes, "What's the matter with you?" I said, "I'm miserable. I hate my job. I'm miserable." She goes, "Well, why?" I said, "Because I can't ride my bike. I miss my outlet in life, riding my bicycle." So we talked a little bit, and she said, "So quit." And I go, "Quit?" Just like that. "Quit your job." She goes, "Yeah. Quit your job. We'll find a way to make do. You still have to make money, but if you're that miserable and you want to ride your bike, quit your job." So I started thinking about it. Believe it or not, that afternoon I went to a local bike shop in North Miami, and I bought a road bike. I don't remember what it was, but I bought a road bike. The next day, Sunday, I went out and rode. Much like the first time I raced mountain bikes in 1995, where I thought the sport was horrible, I was miserable, I threw up and I hated it. That Sunday I went out after purchasing a road bike, specialized Alez Elite. Went out and went road riding. I think I averaged 16 miles an hour. Again, felt horrible. I didn't know what the hell I was thinking. But something came over me. That joy of being 12 years old again, riding on my bike, started to kick in. So what did I do? Started to ride more and more. That Monday, I actually went into my boss's office, or scheduled an appointment to go in my boss's office with Home Depot. And I told him I no longer wanted my position. So I quit. Did what my wife said, I quit. Now, I didn't quit and was jobless. I stepped down from my position to become an hourly associate. So I worked 40 hours a week, and I spent the extra time back riding. And also doing some odd jobs, some odds and ends, trying to make money. Additional money. That 40 hours went to 30, 20, 10, until eventually they told me that if I can't give them any more hours, I have to move on. So I moved I moved on. I have not looked back at that point. Now, moving forward, I decided to get back into racing. First few races, less than stellar performances. While I had left Home Depot, I started a business, been always pretty handy with carpentry. So I started my own furniture business, woodworking. I had a small shop in Hollywood, afforded me the free time to go out and train, as well as work with my hands and do what I like doing. Wound up getting a job with a company working on airplanes, renovating airplanes, high-end executive jet interiors, woodworking in interiors. Why is all of this important? Is my career wound up taking a drastic change into the motivation side of things. I had always been riding my bike, pushing, doing what makes me feel happy, never really thinking about anything else other than what it is that I was doing on a bike. So I went into work one day, and my counterpart had a desk right next to me, a workshop desk, and I had my desk. I had just come back from racing in, I think it was North Carolina. Back in the day, we used to chase the Cirque Series, Southeast Regional Championship, put on by Gone Riding. The Cirque doesn't exist anymore, but it's pretty aggressive series. This particular year, just to summarize, I spent 220 hours traveling. 220 hours traveling in my van or traveling with friends. So I come back from North Carolina, and I was sitting at my desk, or I was standing at my desk working, and my counterpart, this gentleman's name was Don, older gentleman, not that old, but an older gentleman. He looks at me and says, "Hey Bob, how was your weekend?" I said, "Man, the weekend was great. I was racing in North Carolina. I don't think I won. I think I got second that weekend to Andy." So the weekend was great. Felt good. Everything was working. He goes, "Oh, that's so good to hear." And then he said, "Can I share a story with you?" I said, "Absolutely. What's going on, Don?" He goes, "This weekend I was sitting on the couch and I was watching TV. While I was watching TV, a commercial came on and something made me think about you." And I go, "Okay, I'll go along with this." He goes, "And then I started thinking about where you're at, the healthy lifestyle that you're living." And he goes, "I got motivated." And I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, so I got off the couch, I sat on the floor, and I did some sit-ups and push-ups while I was watching TV." And I go, You did that for me, Don? Or because of me?" And he goes, "Yeah." At that point, my career and my energy completely changed. I had no idea that I was impacting this gentleman through my passion and my excitement for riding. Since then, I've started to think more and more about what I do as far as motivating others to create, to have an active, healthy lifestyle. Every person that I talk to, if I can get them to think about what it is that I'm doing just for 1 second, maybe I can get them to do one more push-up, one more sit-up, walk an extra quarter of a mile around their house, walk around their community, push a little bit harder on those cranks. It's a very, very powerful thing that has motivated me to continue to do what it is that I do today. So December will be 30 years of racing, and I'm more motivated than I ever have been through people like you that enjoy what it is that I'm trying to do. So I hope I can continue to motivate it. while trying to continue to motivate others, I also had an additional motivation. Something that happened to me made me realize that I'm also not indestructible. Last episode, I talked about the injuries that happened to me on my right side. In 2015 was my first significant injury in my career. I wound up crashing at Alafaya in Brandon, Florida, across the state. Broke my collarbone, my left side. My collarbone punctured, a piece of my collarbone punctured my lung and broke a bunch of ribs. Wound up in the hospital for, I think it was 4 days. Had to go home, had a consultation, wound up having surgery, so I have a titanium plate trying to keep my collarbone, or not trying to, putting my collarbone back together. It was a bit of an eye-opening experience because it hurt. In the last episode, I said crashing sucks. This one really sucked. Led me to believe that I'm not indestructible. I have to make better decisions to continue to grow, motivate others, and have the ability to pedal tomorrow. I have to stay safe. So, that was the first thing, realizing that I was indestructible. I also had one of my main competitors, Sean Smith, was the first person that wound up getting killed on a training day road riding up in Gainesville. Sean was an amazing athlete, amazing competitor. I had been competing with him for decades. His passing also made me realize just how valuable time is. Sean, to this day, inspires me because I often ask the question when I'm tired, when I don't want to push, when I'm not feeling it today. I think about people that I can inspire. I also think about guys like Sean, that what would he do just to have the ability to be here today to get out and push. Two other friends, Megan and Tammy, lifelong friends that have passed under very tragic conditions, the same thing. What would they be saying? What would they be doing to have a second chance to get out here today and push? My legs are tired. You can still push. I don't feel like waking up today. You can get up. There's one thing that I heard this somewhere. I wish it was true. I wish it was something that I knew of or I made up. There's pain in every decision that we make. Pain in every decision that you make. But fortunately, when you make those painful decisions, there is pleasure on the backside. Every decision is painful. There's pleasure on the backside. Pain and pleasure. There's pain in every decision that we make. Fortunately, there's pleasure on the backside of every one of these decisions of pain. In the morning, when that alarm clock goes off, and you hit the snooze button, and you hit the snooze button, and then eventually you turn it off. In your head, that's a painful decision. You're making a spontaneous decision. I just can't get up. I don't have the energy to get up. I'm going to sleep in. Well, once your day is underway, guess what? And you're going to continue on with that painful decision throughout the day. I know when that alarm clock goes off, you're tired. You want to sleep in. In that moment, you want to think forward of how you're going to feel throughout the rest of that day. Here's an idea, is make a plan the night before. Call one of your friends. When you're motivated to ride, you're excited about tomorrow and training. Call one of your friends. Make a phone call. Make it the night before. Painful decisions. Everybody has to make painful decisions. Make the painful decision with the thoughts of the rest of your day when you've made that painful decision. The pleasure is on the backside. The reason I say make those hard decisions in the morning, especially when it comes to training, is because there's always going to be something that gets in the way in the afternoon. My alarm goes off at 3:50 every morning. I make that painful decision to get up, to be riding my bike by 5 o'clock, 5:30 every morning. Why? Because once I make that decision in the morning, I get those 3 hours, that 3 hours training out of the way, that whatever gets thrown at me the rest of the day, I can handle it. 100%, I can handle it. If I say I'm going to train at the end of the day winds up being stressful. Weather comes into play. Work comes into play. Things always happen to get in the way. Train in the morning. Let's go back a little bit, and we're going to talk just a little bit more about motivation. What is motivation? What is motivation defined as? Motivation is the reason or reasons one has for acting or behaving in a particular way. Let's say that again. The reason or reasons one has for acting or behaving in a particular way. Behave in a way that you want to, that's going to feel fulfilling for what you want. Make those hard decisions. The other one is to be inspired. Inspiration. Let's define inspiration. Inspiration is the process of being mentally stimulated to do or feel something, especially to do something creative. Get on that bike. Get out and ride. Stay motivated. Stay inspired. Feed off of others. Find what's going to inspire you. Find your Don. In my case, my Don. Find your motivation through my Sean, my Tammy, my Megan. Those people would die to be out here today trying to do the things that you're too tired to do, that you don't want to wake up and do. Get out there and push. Make those hard decisions. Stay motivated. Find out who you're going to have the ability to inspire and feed off of all of those. Once again, thank you for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please share, subscribe, but get out there and ride. Get out there and train. Do what's going to make you fulfilled in life. Thanks for watching Hook, Line, and Shifter. Again, I'm your host, Bob McCarty. Lead a healthy and happy lifestyle.